Hello, Mr. Needham here. Welcome to Warcraft Total War, a mod for Medieval Total War Kingdoms, a computer game from 2006, a real-time strategy game. Okay, so Warcraft Total War has recently had a classic edition released, which added some content. We're gonna play a bit in it, even though the humans, the orcs, and the undead are still using the old models here, but because it's a classic version, but it has lots of new units too, like for example the new siege steam engines of the humans and the flying machines have been ported, and it has many new units, even some that are not released in other versions yet. It has new terrain, like new trees and ground textures and vegetables and such, and it has other stuff. It has some new units, but it doesn't replace, they don't replace the old units, because the classic edition was intended to keep the old map and the old units. The reason we wanted to keep the old map is because well, it's almost a different mod based on the map that you use, and this is a very stable mod when you use the M2V EUP tool. Otherwise the giants, dogs and the spiders will crash in battle almost immediately on Windows 10 and 11. Windows 7 it doesn't happen as often, but it will still crash a bit here and there in battle without the tool. If you use the tool, I believe only the dogs will crash. I believe, like the hyenas of the Skull Crusade might still crash. Even the Fellhounds of the Burning Legion, but I think they are more stable, and the Snapdragons of the Naga. But I think the hyenas are worse. And the other two could be wrong, of course. But yeah, the tool prevents creatures from crashing, but it didn't work with the dogs for some reason. I think the tool makes the dogs less likely to crash, but it can still happen. I had the same issue with the one giant unit, the Pyrestar Demolishers of the Blood Elves, the old one that was replaced. The more modern one, I don't know if the more modern one that is shared with the Kingdom of Quel'Thalas, which is the Blood Elves before they became the Blood Elves. I don't know if that model is still crashing on rare occasions when using the tool, because it's a new model, it's the same unit, but the old model could crash even with the tool on rare occasions. But it was still very rare. If you didn't use the tool, it would happen like 2 seconds into the battle on Windows 10. And if you use the tool, it could happen rarely. So most battles it wouldn't happen at all. Okay. Other giants never crashes when you use the tool. Dogs unfortunately are unstable. Usually they work fine if you have like 1 or 2, maybe 3, but if you have more than 5 dogs in an army, then it's likely to crash in the middle of battle. Okay, we want to play the Reign of Chaos, the Frozen Throne campaign, but in this classic version we have 2 campaigns. We have the smaller campaign. I forgot to disable the minor factions before I uploaded the mod. Stupid. I had also thought that I should delete the executable.bat file, because if you run the game through the executable, then of course the giants, dogs and then spiders will crash in battle. You need to use the Medieval Total War Engine Oral Project tool, or M2V EUP tool, that is also included in the mod, and the risk is that if you include the executable.bat file, that people will use it instead, because they're used to use it with other mods from Medieval 2, and then it will crash a lot. So yeah, I was supposed to remove it. The reason it existed in the folder in the first place is because Afmuns or Seridan, formerly known as Bantus Chieftain on Total War Center, the guy who rigged like 90% of the models and then later remade the map, and essentially the guy behind most of the models in the mod and the new map of the later version, and the guy who has added the new terrain, like new trees, new ground textures in battles, etc., new grass, vegetables, etc. He kept an executable in the folder, so that's why it was in the folder. I had to delete that executable from my version, so all the versions I upload do not have it except this version, and I also forgot to disable the minor factions. So you have two reasons to re-upload the mod. Disable the minor factions that I use when playtesting the game, and of course because they are the rebels, the slave faction of vanilla, Total War, medieval Total War. I believe they are the rebels in medieval 2 and the slave faction in Total War. They control all the areas, the map that aren't held by anyone, and the faction is immortal. And it's called the minor factions here because essentially you have many different minor groups in the world of Azeroth, the Warcraft world, that are rebels at the start. So if you place this faction, you can control essentially all the different minor groups on the map. And yeah, they are immortal, so it's not a fun campaign to place them, even if it could be fun to control certain creatures and such. But I've now made all the unique creatures of the rebels into mercenaries or troops of some sort, so you can play as anyone, any unit as certain factions. Like for example, the Night Elves might have the Furbolgs as mercenaries, and other factions like the Rocky Trolls might have the Grim Totems as mercenaries or regional troops. So they are available to certain factions under certain circumstances. They might be regular troops, they might be mercenaries, or they might be regional troops, but in most cases when it comes to the minor factions, they are mercenaries for certain groups. You cannot divide mercenaries between factions, by the way, but you can divide them between religions. So in this mod, all the humans have the religion known as the Holy Light, and as such, when you give a mercenary unit to the Holy Light religion only, then only the humans can get that mercenary. And if you give it to the Titan religion, only the dwarves can get it. If you give it to the Sun religion, only the High Elves or Blood Elves can get it. And yeah, there are like different races are based on different. I believe the humans share religion, the elves share religion, the dwarves share religion, and the orcs and goblins share religion, and insects share religion, the undead share religion. Also the Gaians share religion with the undead, and the trolls share religion, and yeah. The only issue is when for example, the Khaz'Modan dwarves are good and the Dark Iron dwarves are evil. At least in old Warcraft they were evil, and they are part of the alliance in modern World of Warcraft. But anyway, this mod is based on Warcraft 3 and the Frozen Throne expansion with some liberties taken to the lore because it's a medieval 2 mod. And yeah, the problem is when two factions that are on different sides, like evil dwarves and good dwarves, share religion, then we can't give them mercenaries for good factions, because then the evil faction would also get them. So in this case I would only give them mercenaries that fit both factions. With the humans we had the same problem with the Scarlet Crusade. All the other humans are good, but the Scarlet Crusade is evil. But all of them share the Holy Light religion. Scarlet Crusade is essentially a Crusader type faction. But anyway, they share mercenaries, and some mercenaries like dwarves etc. shouldn't be in the Scarlet Crusade, but had no choice, because otherwise the others wouldn't be able to have them. And yeah, so in some cases liberties are taken with the lore if game limitations prevent us from staying strict to the lore, with things like that. Okay, we are not gonna place the minor factions, and I should have disabled them so they are not selectable here. So we can see in the Reign of Caves campaign we have way fewer factions than in the latest release, and in compared to the earlier releases. You can place the King of Lordron. Notable unit is the Knights of Tyr, and this is old news. They are led by King Terenas Menethil, father of Prince Arthas Menethil, and Kalia Menethil, the princess. We can also place Stormin, the Kingdom of Stormin, led by Varian Vryn, or King Varian Vryn. We have the Stormin Cavaliers. There is like nothing new in the selection screen, so it's like old news. Human Expedition Terramore. They used to be named just Terramore in the past. The Human Expedition Terramore since a while back, I believe since 2024 in April or so. Led by Archmage Jaina Pradmore, Noble unit mounted Archmagi, and we have the Dwarves of Khaz'Modan, which is a kingdom, the Kingdom of Khaz'Modan. They are led by King Magni Bronzebeard. The dwarves, Khaz'Modan dwarves, Bronzebeard elders are their best unit. The Kingdom of Quel'Thalas, the High Elven Kingdom, the precursor, the predecessor to the Blood Elves. Essentially the Blood Elves before they became the Blood Elves. Led by King Anasterian Sunstrider, the father of Quel'Thalas, the prince, who is the leader of the Blood Elves in a later setting. Alright, and the notable unit is the Grand Magisters, the Mages. We have the Dark Iron Dwarves, the Evil Dwarves, led by Emperor Magran, I believe, whatever, Emperor Dagran. Dagran Taurisan, I believe. Notable unit, Iron Golems, and of course all of this is old news, but the new thing with this campaign is, the selection screen, is that fewer factions are available than before. So in the Reign of Chaos campaign you cannot play as the Scarlet Crusade anymore. Could in earlier versions of the mod, really old versions, but they are not available, and just like in the latest release they are not available, and same with the Naga, or Illidan's Naga, and the same is with the Forsaken under Sylvanas Windrunner, and Undead that have broken free from the Scourge. None of them are available in this campaign. And then also I removed the Reek faction here on the map, the Northern Giants and the Kiraji Insects, mostly because Reek was hindering the goblins from doing anything here, and the Kiraji were OP and would conquer half the continent in no time. I wanted other factions to be a threat in this campaign, like the Burning Legion, so remove them. Plus the Vrykul or Rykul were supposed to be sleeping far into World of Warcraft, so it's not lore accurate to have them in the game to begin with, and the Kraji also didn't show up until World of Warcraft, so they are bonus factions. Because of that reason I thought they did better in the Frozen Throne campaign, the late game campaign. Even in those campaigns, even in that campaign, they are not supposed to be around. Also the Nerubian faction are soon there, but this is the Dark Horde led by Rend, I don't know if he was named Black Hand, but he's named his surname was Black Hand, I don't know. He's Rend leader, and they have the Drake Riders or Red Dragons. Okay, yes, they are should be named Red Dragons, but there is another unit named Drake Riders. I believe maybe it was used in the past. The picture is the Red Dragons. Okay, Red Dragon Flights in later iterations. They were named the Red Dragons in Warcraft 2, and then Red Dragon Flights in World of Warcraft, I believe. Okay, so the King of Azul and Rube, the Spider Kingdom in Northrend. Yeah. I forgot what I was talking about. I was speaking about something. Yeah, I believe that the Kingdom of Azul and Rube, the Spider Kingdom, is not supposed to be in this campaign either. They were killed off a long time ago, and lore, even in Warcraft 3, it was a long time ago since they were exterminated by the Undead Scourge. But in this mod, of course, we wanted a faction and to fill out the map, and yeah, they are around, and we also picked some factions that came later, like the Ankrai faction and the Reclaw. But we moved them to the Frozen Throne campaign, the late game campaign, but the King of Azul and Rube shouldn't even be in this campaign. They should be in a campaign thousands of years ago. But yeah, sometimes it makes sense to alter lore to get more factions in the game. I believe Hyrule Total War, the Zelda game mod from Medieval 2, did the same thing. I was inspired by that. I believe the team was inspired by that as well. When you make a mod, you, instead of making many campaigns based on different settings, you make one big campaign and combine settings and lore. We did 2 campaigns in Warcraft Total War. Hyrule Total War did 1 campaign. Yeah, the whole point of the Hyrule Total War campaign was taking factions from all over the Zelda games and putting them in the same Total War setting. So you create a map, and then you place out the factions on the map, and many of the factions are not from the same game, from the same Zelda game. There are many different Zelda games for different consoles. Some of them were for the Game Boy Color, others for the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, GameCube, and later systems. So they have very little in common, except that they are all set in the Zelda universe with similar characters, but they are completely different when it comes to the story. And many of these factions never meet each other and interact with each other, but in the Total War setting you create a map, and then you put out all the factions, and then they fight a war against each other. Then of course you try to stay true to the lore as far as it's possible, but you need to alter things to fit the Medieval Total War setting and game. And that's what we did here too. So while we try to have the campaign start lore accurately, it will not be bound by the lore. Instead, we put often gameplay and such over lore, like for example adding Azul and Rube to the Warcraft 3 campaign, or Ankrai and the Reclaw to the Frozen Throne campaign, for a more fun campaign with more factions and units, even if it doesn't make sense from a history or lore standpoint. Yeah, because this faction would have been long dead in this campaign if we followed lore, and the other 2 would not would not show up until way later. Alright. So I'm annoyed with myself over including the executable.bat file in the folder. Now people will use it and then write that the game crashes against giants. And also the minor factions here, it doesn't look right, it doesn't have a unique symbol. That sucked. I might have to re-upload the mod. But yeah, It's not game breaking that the rebels are playable to them. It just looks bad. I don't believe anyone will play as them. Maybe someone would like to start the game as the minor factions and just play a little bit, but it's not fun because they are immortal essentially. You will have no challenge. Anyway, this is the Reign of Chaos campaign. We have the Night Elves led by co-leader Malfurion and Trend Whisperwind. I believe it's Malfurion, don't remember his surname. A notable unit Moon Priestess, the King Fashion Rube, led by a Crypt Lord, I don't Anubarak or something name. Scourge led by Lich King Ner'zhul. So this takes place before Arthas has become the Lich King. He is Paladin Arthas in this campaign. Prince of Lordaeron, leader of the King of Lordaeron, is his father, King Terenas Manito. We have the Drakari Troll tribe, and I do not remember their leader's name. One of the kings of the Drakari. Notable unit, Drakari Temple Guards. We have the King of Stromgarde, led by another king. I don't remember the name of. The notable unit, Great Force of Arator, the Drakari Troll tribe, led by one of the chieftains. Valdrab is the unique unit. The Horde led by Chieftain Troll. Yeah, good Horde. Horde of Warcraft 3 and World of Warcraft. This old Horde was the Horde of Warcraft 1 and 2, largely forgotten. They are more evil and are also present in World of Warcraft as a minor group, but when people speak about the Horde, it's the actual Horde of this guy Troll that they are speaking about. But I know that the Troll, or Yin, who is also a hero of the Horde faction, he takes over the Horde at some point, and after he dies, Sylvanas Windrunner will take over, who is the Banshee Queen of the Forsaken Undead, an ally of the Horde in World of Warcraft, and she becomes the new chieftain over the Horde at some point. But Troll was the original leader of the Horde, and I mean the new Horde. The old Horde, the Dark Horde, they were led by others like Orgrim Doomhammer and Blackhand, and that Horde was also in alliance with the Burning Legion, the demons. Well, this Horde broke free from the demons and are fighting the demons, but they're also fighting humans and such. They are good, but they are not allies of the humans. They are like rivals with the humans, but they are not bad. They are not evil like the Dark Horde. Okay, they have the Kudo Riders as their unique unit. They have the Burning Legion under Lord Khaz'Modan, and then the unit Infernals. They are the demons. They are the bad guys, the real bad guys of the world of Azeroth. But the Undead Scourge are their creation, so both of them are the bad guys, and the Legion demons created the Undead Scourge to kill off everyone in Azeroth and then take over. The Death Knight Arthas turned against the Legion and went rogue, so they are not allies, they belong. They are also enemies. Okay, we have the Trade Coalition or Goblins, but in this faction we also have bandits, human bandits, and we have ogres, and we have hobgoblins, and we have trolls. So they are a mix of creatures, but the main group is the goblins. Actually, they are the ones leading it. They are focused on trade and money and such, and then they have lots of criminals. They are a cartel, trade coalition. The coalition of goblin cartels. You have different cartels. Cartel at Booty Bay, cartel here, at Undermine, a cartel at Gadget San, cartel at Madsprocket, at Ratchet, at Everlook, and we have one at this place too. That I don't remember the name of right now, but anyway, they have different cartels, and the trade coalition is a coalition of those goblin cartels, and they employ ogres, bandits, human bandits, and trolls in their ranks. Okay, and then we have the Bash troll tribe, inspired by the Aztecs. And they have the notable unit Blood Slayers, and they're led by this guy, I don't remember the name. We have the Forest Trolls, the Money Troll tribe, led by the non-troll Celine, only troll leader that I know the name of. The unit Skullbreakers, so I believe the Gurubashi trolls, they are jungle trolls, smaller trolls. And the Drakari trolls, they are ice trolls, and they are large, very big trolls. They are the most powerful troll faction. Gurubashi is the most powerful, smaller troll faction. Then we have the Faraki desert trolls, and they are the weakest troll faction originally in the mod, but they have gotten some new units in this version, so they are actually really strong now. They might actually be stronger than the Gurubashi now, or on an even footing. They used to be weaker than the others, but now they are certainly on an even footing with the Gurubashi. They might be stronger. And then we have the forest trolls, the money. They have half their roster being giant trolls like the Drakari, and the other half being smaller trolls like Gurubashi and the Faraki. Well, the Faraki and the Gurubashi, they are only consisting of smaller trolls, and the Drakari trolls, they are only consisting of big trolls. Okay, so and all of this is old news, but the new thing is that in the campaign we have lots of new stuff going on. I don't want to play this campaign, but we'll have to start it because we need to exit and start up the Frozen Throne campaign instead. I just wanted to go to the selection screen so you could see the available factions in this version. The Warcraft Total War Classic Edition released. I released yesterday on Thursday. Yeah, I released a new version yesterday, classic version. And yeah, when you start the game, you have the garrison scripts that you can select yes or no to, thanks to Mother Trug. I usually select no. We will exit the game to the menu. Go back to see. We could check custom battle, by the way, and have late on order on road, and we'll just select all the humans first, and dwarves, high elves, they're their allies. Let's see what new there is to find here. So, compared to the older version, because this is an official update of the October 31st, 2024 release, last version released with old map and the old humans. I believe there was another version released with old humans, but it had a larger map. So this is an update of the old map version of Warcraft Total War. And unlike in the older release, the humans have now access to dwarven miners in custom battle, and 3 of them, Terramore, or the human expedition Terramore, and I believe also that the Kingdom of Stormwind and maybe the Kingdom of Stromgarde have access to the dwarven miners in the campaign. Unlike in earlier campaigns, I believe that this unit is actually available. I believe there was a line that said you needed certain resources before you could build a building that recruited this unit. So now instead I believe that I removed those lines so you can actually recruit this unit. I saw that the AI did. I don't believe they did in the past. Yes, some of the humans have dwarven miners, just like in the latest release with the new huge map and then more modern models. So I added them to this version too. The dwarven miners, and they had things like spellbreakers, priests of the sun, sorceresses. They were in the game since before. We have Prince Arthur's Manatee, Air of Lordaeron, Paladin. We have added the Elven Rangers too. This is the Kingdom of Lordaeron. We see the mercenaries down here. You can also see that I replaced the Warhammer steam tank with the Warcraft steam engines and the Warhammer Gyrocopter with the Warcraft flying machines for all the humans and for the dwarves in Khaz'Modan. And as for their mercenaries, they do have the Highlander Auxiliary Brigade and the Highlander Auxiliary Cavalry. They are new. The Wildhammer Griffon Riders, they're new at least for some factions. I believe Lordaeron had them before, but not the other humans. The Water Elementals are newest mercenaries in this version. And we still have the older ones like the Argent Dawn guys in this version. The older old humans and such. Okay, so all of these have been added to this version, I believe. The Scarlet Crusade. We have Salivite and High Inquisitor in Scarlet Crusade, and we have stayed on that one, the Grand Crusade of the Scarlet Crusade. We added these two heroes to custom battle, but also to the campaign, including strat models made by Zeradan or Efmans or Bandit Chief. He uses multiple count names. Changes his username all the time. Okay, we have all the models, including the Scarlet Tracking Hands. They were in the old October version. We have some mercenaries that we haven't here before. Right, the Kingdom of Stormwind. We have the miners, Elven Rangers, we have older units, of course. And we have the Quel'Thalas Dawn Runners, Elves. The steam engines, and the flying machines. And I believe they didn't have the water elemental or the Wildhammer Riders. And they also got the Frost Dwarves as mercenaries in the campaign too. Including the Eagles, they are Dwarven Eagles. The Dwarves of Khaz'Modan, including mercenaries. They have the Molten Guy now, the unique skin for Khaz'Modan, but the picture is the same for both the Dark Iron Dwarves and Khaz'Modan. In the past only the Dark Iron Dwarves had this unit, but in the latest release of Warcraft Total War we added this, I believe, back in November or December last year, November I think. And I added it recently, 1 or 2 days ago, to this version. The old release of October 31st, 2024, but updated. So we have this version, we have the steam engines and the flying machines, and we have the Highlander guys, and see if they had anything else they didn't have before. No, I don't think so. Right, the Kingdom of Stromguard. They kept the old Red Legion of Strom female units here. Unlike in the latest release, they have the Dwarven Miners. They have the Quel'Thalas Dawn Runners. And no, this is not Stromgard, this is the Human Expedition Paramore. We had this before. They've gotten, I believe in October they got this unit, and it's not new. And the Warren Miners are new in this release, and the Lower Dawn Runners are new. And these, of course they have Jaina Proudmoore, the Archmage, the leader. And they have Highlanders, it's a new mercenary unit. And the Water Elementals. I believe these were available before. These two are, all of these are new. The Terramore, I believe. Kingdom of Quel'Thalas, High Elves. They got this unit back in October, I believe. Or maybe, I think I added this now actually. I believe I had added it to the later versions. But I added them now to this version, yeah. And we have the new Firestar Demolishers, using a skin for the Kingdom of Khaz'Modan. And we have Highlanders, the old Elementals, they are new, I believe, this version. We have the Kingdom of Stromgard, they have the all female units. I had made cards for, they are still in this version. In the other version, the main version, I believe the Highlanders replaced them. Here they have both. I've added 3 female officers to both of these units and to the other units with the same style. So yeah, but I had these before, I believe. They have the steam engines. I believe they have access to the flying machines too, but they are not as easily available. Maybe you need to select all for them to be available. We have the Night Elves. Of course they have Demon Hunter Ilden and Moon Priestess Co-Leader and the Whisper Wind. But Ilden is a bonus, he's the leader of the Naga too. Used to belong to the Night Elves. They have also the Highlanders. Not much new here. Mostly old stuff. This is the only new thing. So that's the humans and such. The Blood Elves, Dark Iron Dwarves, the Dark Horde, the Good Horde, the Burning Legion, the Demons. We have let's see, the Trade Collision Goblins, the Recall Norseman Giants. We have the Amanish Troll Tribe. Check these out. The Blood Elves, they have Prince Quel'Thalas, of course, as a leader. They have the new Firestar Demolisher. And the Water Elementals were added as a mercenary, I believe. These are the only new ones, I believe. The Blood Elves, Burning Legion of the Demons. I believe changes have been done to the heroes. They've lost Gul'dan, and instead they have Gromash Hellscream, with Gul'dan being an officer of this unit instead, so both are in this unit. And I've added the unique skin for the old orc skeletons, so they have the green shoulder pads like we had in the November release of Warcraft Total War, using the big map, but never had in the older versions because those skins were not in use. We had to actually edit some files and do some stuff in order to enable those extra skins. Of course the cards are not showing the proper colors. So yeah, they have unique skins added to this version, and Gul'dan is a part of Grom Hellscream's unit in custom battle. The only other change, I believe, is that the Death Knights of the Burning Legion do not have this horse anymore. They have the same rider, but they have an actual armored Warcraft horse now. Death Knight horse, and Shad with the Scourge. Originally I gave him the Forsaken skin, but I changed that to the Scourge because they had the blue color similar to one of the guys of this unit riding the horse. So it fit better. Originally I wanted the Forsaken because they had a form of green color and fit with the banner of the Burning Legion, but the horse looked better than the one that the Scourge is using. Everything else here was in the release, I believe. So yeah, these are the new things for the Burning Legion, but it's a really cool horse. And yeah, requires some modding to add those extra skins and such. Did some 2D stuff back in 1924, I believe. For the version that I released after the October 31st version. Okay, the Dark Iron Dwarves. They have access to the Highlanders. Otherwise I think they do not have anything new. The Trade Collision, the Goblins, they also have their Orc skins. They use the same as Burning Legion, the green shoulder pads, but they have a different card. And all their shooter units, for example, most of them, the Alchemists, I believe, the Tail Gunners, and Trike Gangs, and the Pirate Musketeers, all of them have new projectiles, so they've been changed. They have the same as in the official version. Same with the rockets, they are much better. They used to be a workless unit, now they are good. And we have added the Dragon Turtles and the Highwaymen to the faction. They were not in the old October 31st, 2024 release. All of these were new to the November release, I believe. We used a bigger map. Still used the old models for the humans and the Orcs and Undead, but used a much bigger map. And yeah, that map in the November release had problems like the AI could get stuck and such in endless loops. The smaller map is less, I believe it's more bug free than the November version where I had these units. and all humans and such. Yeah, so I added the same changes here. The trade condition worked quite well in the campaign with the Dragon Turtles and Slave Dragon Turtles, and we also have much better projectile users now. And their Warlock unit, the Goblin Warlocks, are now 13 unit, like in the official version, increased from a much smaller number. They also have the Mercenaries, and I believe I added the Troll Ballista shared with the Horde, the Dark Horde, and all the Troll factions with different Troll crews. It's the only Ballista unit in the game shared by the Trolls, I believe. Earlier there were like 4 different entries for Ballista and 3 and 4 for Catapult. I removed all 4 for the Catapult and in this version as well, and 3 of the Ballistas because they share crew with different skins. Some guys, some cases different models. So yeah, that's the trade collision. They had quite a few changes, but nothing we haven't seen in the actual release, main release. I mean, with the Dark Horde, they also have the Troll Ballista, and besides that, I don't think they have much. They've lost Black Hand and are going to do Hammer's heroes and Gul'dan. I removed the heroes to make space for new units. So yeah, I think this is the only new thing for the Dark Horde here. We have the Recall. They have quite a few new things. have the mercenaries such as the Iron Dwarf, Stone Guards, and Steel Guards, and Iron Recruits, etc. They had that before, but the new stuff, they have the Valkyrie unit, brand new unit, not in any other version currently. It is in an unreleased version, of course, that is supposed to update the main version of the mod, but for now they are not released anywhere else. The Valkyrie, female Warcraft Valkyries, essentially. We also have added the remade Mammoth, War Mammoths. They aren't the official release already, I believe they were added in December last year. But this unit is fresh, very fresh. And then they also have Recall Fighters, a new unit, also added to the main mod. So the Recall Fighters and the Valkyrie unit, those two are new units that are still to be released for the main version of the mod, and then this War Mammoth is already in the releases since December 2024. And then we have this unit, the Recall Plunderers, which is the remade Recall Raiders. No, Warriors. No, it was the remade Raiders. These two are the same units, essentially. This is a much larger unit, and Munso, or Band Chieftain, he remade this unit to be smaller and use different gear and such, but they have similar beards and hair, blonde hair usually, and it is the same unit, but this is much smaller and more numerous. The idea was that the Recall are pulled in the campaign, so he remade them into a more normal unit for the factions to do better. They are smaller. They are not as small as a human, they are twice the size of a human, and are about the same size as a Tauren warrior unit. Smaller Taurens, essentially, and Tonkas. They are still pretty big, but this guy is huge. He's as huge as the elite units, the Dragonflayer Iron Helms, the Household Bodyguards, and the Vargos, and the Emiria Champions. But they are fewer in numbers, and in the official release we are gonna use this unit to replace this one. But in this version I decided to add this one as a new unit instead and keep this one. This unit is, these two are new units in both versions. They won't replace anyone. This one is already included. It was a replacement of the old Mammoth that looked much worse. Okay, and I believe this unit, Dragon Warriors, will also be replaced, and then we might replace this one, the Battle Maidens, Spear Sisters, and the Huntresses, but we had no good animation for the Huntresses if we lowered the size, so this one might be kept. This one is pretty good, but they are a bit glitched in melee. But with the head and the arms, they might be made slightly smaller. This one might be remade. This one I'm pretty sure he will remake. But he has only done the Raiders currently, I believe, out of those models. Right, but these are new. This one is the official latest release. These are the new ones for this mod. They are completely fresh. And then we have the Horde, we have Troll, Warship Troll. He has also Killrog, Deadeye, I believe, as an officer in his unit here in Custom Battle. It's like Grom is available here as well, the green skin instead of the red skin. The green portrait instead of the red portrait, and he has Gul'dan as an officer. Also with the green skin instead of a red skin. I believe they use green skins in the Horde and red skins in the Burning Legion, and black skins or grey skins in the Dark Horde. And as for other units, we have also added the red shoulder pad skin with the orc skeletons here. And I believe that I didn't add the Orc Spears. This would be weird to only add them to one unit or so. Kept the old models here, but this warrior has a modern model since before. It's not looking like this. Everyone else looked at that, but the Corcoran was also remade in 2023. Blade Master is quite modern. I believe the units we are gonna replace this unit, the Peons, will be removed, and Grant was remade in 2023, it won't be touched. The Blade Masters are good enough to be kept. The Orc Berserkers will be replaced. Orc Spearmen have been replaced already, I just didn't replace the model here. These two, the Orc Necrolytes and the Warlocks, they have been replaced too, but the Necrolytes will be named Acolytes instead. And these two have been replaced. I just haven't added them to this version. I'm still to add these four. And this one is already added, but I got an armor upgrade that haven't been added yet. So all of these, we get new models in the main mod. And this one too. It's also one of the older models. And the Raider, the Wolf will be kept, but the Rider of the Wolf will be replaced. It's an old model. The Weevil Riders and the Kudur Riders and the Farseers, they are good models, but we did add Troll Dark Ballista here as well, and they have a new Kudur Rider mount, an updated one. We also have the Orc Shamans, which is using a good model, or using a good model. So yeah, with the Horde, we have all of these that will be updated, have already been updated in an unreleased build, but they haven't added actual models. They've gotten the models, but they haven't added them yet. This one was replaced for this version. The skin for this one was added, and the Troll Ballista was also added. We didn't have that before. It's not too many changes, but the Orcs will get quite a few remade units. The next main release, the Amani Troll Tribe. They of course have the Troll Long Spears, also available in the latest releases. I believe these were added in the October 31st and 24 release. I added it to the Ferraki only. I only had the Ferraki version. Then Munzo or Banshiften, he added skins and alternate models for other factions. We have the Amani one and the Dakari one, the Gurbashi one as well, in addition to the Ferraki one, all sharing the same slot, and it's like the Ballista, by the way, and they were added in November in the first version that had a bigger map, so this was back ported to this version. We also have a new, completely fresh unit, the Diet Trolls, which will replace the Dakari Diet Troll in the main release and have different skins for all four of the trolls. But in this version I added them as a new unit for all four of them, but kept the old troll for the Dakari, so they have two Diet Trolls in this version, but this one is slightly bigger, so it's slightly better. And we have the Ballista, of course. So these are the ones added to the Amani Trolls. This one of course is in the available other releases as well, and released after November 2024, and this one is also in those, but this one is a completely fresh unit, not on any other release screen. And we are done. I believe one thing, the Dark Horde, this unit, the Black Destroyer Bodyguard and Black Destroyer Elite unit, they need to be replaced as well. They will be replaced. Okay, and we have the insects, the Kingdom of Flash, the Rube Spider Kingdom, and the Ankirai insect with swarm faction. We have the Naga, or Ildan's Naga. We have besides that, I don't know if we have anything else. Can't select manufacturers if we have all on. I'm not sure if we have it on. So then the Rubians, they do not have anything new. And Krai Swarm faction do not have anything new. And of course in Nag we have Illidan and Lady Vash. And I did add the Medusa matriarchs to this one. They only had the Medusas available for recruitment and the Medusa bodyguards. And since the trade started to work, when you recruit a bodyguard unit, you get the general. So they didn't actually have the matriarchs as a unit of their own. When the trades didn't work, you got the unit, but when the trade started to work, if you recruit a bodyguard, you get the general. They do not have the actual dragon turtles. They do have them in the campaign too. And if you select all, they have them. I probably removed them from custom battle because I originally did think that only the trade commission should have them like in the other main build, but then I decided to keep them in the campaign as the fact can do better with them. So okay, so this unit was made its own unit. They didn't have it before. They only had the bodyguard. That's a new unit, the Naga. They also received this mercenary unit they didn't have before. Water elementals, they fit the Naga. They had water elementals in the main build. They do not have the matriarch. I will have to add that to the main build as well. To update it to main build. Okay. I believe we haven't checked every faction. We haven't checked Undead. I believe we checked the Forsaken and the Scourge, and besides them I think we have checked everybody. Could be wrong, but I think so. The Forsaken, so we have the skin, they have the Horde skin, the red one. And then I added, because this version have to have the old Dread Guards and Death Guards, these units. One is the skin of a WoW classic unit, and the other the fan-made unit with their skin. This is how the Death Guards and the Dread Guards look before. And I added a new Dread Guard as a Phalanx unit. They are a Phalanx unit in the other mod version too, but here they are named Dread Guard Phalanx, and here they are just named Dread Guards like this unit, because they replaced this unit. Here they have both the Dread Guard Phalanx, the Forsaken were the least finished faction out of any faction in the past, and despite having more units than the Weaken, they had fewer unique ones. Okay, and because they were used to the skin of the Scourge originally with 1 to 3, 1 to 4 unique units, and I added some new ones. So the main release, these two were removed, and this one was replaced with a more modern model. This one became this one, but here they are both included. And this one, the Death Guards, became this one, named Darkfall and Deathblades here, but they were a replacement of this one in the main release. So instead of replacing the older units, they were added as new units in this version. But in the main release, they would take the slots of these two. And this one was replaced by a different orc skeleton, who looks a lot better. Yeah, then they have the old units. They have the Elven skins still, led by Undead Overhaul, Forsaken. And they have a new unit, the Valkyr. So you can say that these are old units, and these are new. And these two are released since I believe the June 22nd, 2025 release. The unstable release, they are in that version. As the Death Guard and Red Guard, they are released. But this one is new for this version and is not released anywhere else at the moment. Then they have, of course, the Dark Fallen Marquises, which is essentially the same unit as this one, but mounted. It has a Warcraft horse, Undead horse, same as the Death Knights with a different skin for the second, and they have this rider, but with a lance and shield, and can probably switch the sword in melee fighting, in close range melee fighting. Okay, so they have a new cavalry unit that is a unique unit as well, and both of these have never been seen in any other release. And I believe that I added to the riders, the Grim Totem. The Coda Rider of the Horde has a alternate-like model and skin, turning the rider from a Orc into a Tauren, a Grim Totem Tauren. And so added here because Grim Totems are available as regionals or mercenaries in the campaign for the Undead religion, with the Forsaken being the main target because they are in lore they were allied to the Grim Totem Taurens, and yeah, they have access to the Grim Totem Marauders and the Grim Totem Destroyers, and then it made sense to give them this unit to the new one. Of course, this one is released since December 2024, I believe. These two are not released before. And then we have the Scourge, Lord Undead by Death Knight Artist, and also the Orc Lich King, Warcraft 2, I believe. So we have changed the Crypt Fiends, so they are missile now. They shoot stones at enemies like the alive counterparts. No longer melee, they are like in Warcraft 3. We have the Valkyrie, of course, a new unit. So unlike in the earlier versions, this unit shoots stones for the first time, and this one is a completely fresh new unit. This Orc skeleton already used this skin in the past. The siege engine works perfectly in this version, unlike in the version I sent Rampained back on May 8, 2025, I believe it was bugged, the version he got. Okay, and then we have Icebound Bone Raids, a new unit, completely fresh. Never seen before, an animod based on the Rat Lich King expansion or Warcraft expansion trailer. They look like in that trailer. An elite skeleton unit of Scourge. They got two new units. One is Shroud with Auricular and the Forsaken, as we have seen. And then a new made this a projectile unit, a range unit. This is a completely unique unit for this faction, not shared with anyone. Didn't replace any skeletons and other units, nor the Death Knights, but the ordinary cavalry, the raiders and the horse archers of both the Forsaken and the Scourge, they have new undead horses that replace the ones in this picture from World of Warcraft. And then they have new armored horses for the Death Knight, bodyguards and other heavy cavalry, including artists and the Dark Fallen. So they have new World of Warcraft horses, but the riders are the old ones in this version. And that's it essentially. Could essentially check how they look. You know how some of the units look, but the undead, we'll check the cavalry. Need to go back, increase the money so you can hire, can recruit them here. Okay, so the troops, you can look at all the ones too. So Quel'Thalas has been updated. She used the old model. It was bugged. She fixed her animation and switched out the model to the unbugged one. Alright. The Forsaken had quite a few units you could take a look at. New horses for these, new model for Savannas. This is a new unit. New units. These are old, but we will compare them. New skin, fixed model, new model, new model. The Scourge. We also have this one. Led by Arthas, he has a new horse. Other Death Knights have a new horse too. And wait for the Crypt Fiends. New horses for those two. Siege engine. And this unit is available in the campaign, unlike in the main release. You can see that Forsaken had way more troops. We'll add skeletons too. And they have quite a few units there. Add some older ones. Now we'll add this one. I forgot about it. The Icebound Bone Rates. Add that one too. The Champions. And the Halberds. Let's start the game. Needed to start the custom battle before we can go to the campaign, otherwise the game will crash when you enter the custom battle screen. If you do not start the battle, it will crash if you try to go back to the campaign. Of course we have the new terrains. This is the Lordaeron Road, so it's a Lordaeron forest. There are two different terrains added. We have the Elven Forest one and Elven Forest climate or terrain or whatever, and we have the Highlands one. Highlands is like very spooky looking trees. It would fit Northrend, probably where the Drakari are located. Forests of Northrend, very tall trees, very spooky looking. You can see like gargoyles and trolls and stuff in that forest. And then we have the Elven Forest one. Which is like the trees and forests outside of Stormwind, Lordaeron, etc. This is a Lordaeron battlefield. So yeah, we have custom trees in this version as well. Yeah. Classic edition with a smaller map. So the map doesn't dictate what you have in terms of terrain. It's other files that dictate what trees you have and what grass you have, etc. So we have the Herald War siege engines for the Undead Stalfos that has been in Warcraft Total War forever, since 2017, but I believe I removed the unit for a few years and then re-added them. We have the old crews, the old orc skeletons, but with the red shoulder pads that I fixed in November last year. So they were never in this version, despite the skin existing. We have Savanna's Windrunner. We are controlling the Forsaken. She has her sword, has the weapon, and shield as well. The bows are shield. And no longer has two weapons, which is good. She would look bad otherwise, but she would still crash if we didn't fix the animation. I did fix it. So she have a melee animation now. So yeah, this skin is new for this version, and this siege engine can actually fire, which it couldn't in Rampane's Let's Play. We have the new horse, the Forsaken skin, the Death Knight horse, essentially. So these guys were named, I believe, the Defilers, I believe, in the other version. Here they are named Darkfall and Marquesses. If they are not a bodyguard unit, I might change that and turn them into the Defilers later. And I am continuing the project by updating all the models. The mod, and I will turn them into exact copies of the other mod. Will become the bodyguard. Here they are not bodyguard, they kept all the Death Knights as the bodyguard here, which is not lore, but we wanted to keep this version like it was in Classic with some additional content. We also have the new Skeleton Horse, so the older Armored Horse and Skeleton Horse, they're Warhammer models, and these are Warcraft models. So we have a new rider and new horse, and here we have an old rider but a new horse. Skeleton Raiders. We have the actual Death Knights, they have the same horse. Different riders, the old Death Knights, the old Skeleton Raiders, the new Defilers, here with a different name. They will look exactly like this in the official release, the main release of the mod, but with a different name. It will be the bodyguard of the Forsaken, their best heavy cavalry unit. They are essentially the direct equivalents of the Death Knights, but in this version they had the Death Knights as the bodyguard, the old Death Knights that look exactly like these. These are the Death Knights, mounted Death Knights. So yeah, these are the bodyguards here in the Classic edition, so that's why they were added. There's a different unit here, but these are the bodyguards in the updated roster in the main release of Warcraft Total War. Then we have of course the new Valkyr, Forsaken, and I realized that F-Muns or Band Chieftain, he added different shields and swords based on the faction. So they have the same skins but for the body etc. and hair, but have different shields and swords. So the Regal ones have a round shield and a very Viking looking sword, and the Forsaken have this style, and then the Scourge have a different one. They have different gear but the same models. You also have the Darkfall and Deathblades, named as the Death Guards in the other version. They replaced the Death Guards, but here they didn't replace the Death Guards. Rather as a different unit. Forsaken needed more units. Have very few units. They're unique. We have the Dread Guard Phalanx, only called or named the Dread Guards, and replacing the actual old Dread Guards in the other version. Here they are, the Dread Guard Phalanx, because we weren't replacing anything. So yeah, they are added to give the Forsaken more unique units. We have the old Death Guard, which is a WoW Classic model with the Forsaken skin, but it wasn't the most good looking one. I believe it's a reskin of a Skull Crusade unit. The swords, the Shields of Virtue, I believe. We have the old Dread Guards. They were skinned by the user of Warcraft Hero, but they were used the old humans with the Undead skin, I believe. So when we removed the old humans, this one didn't fit anymore. And this one kind of fit, but because it's a reskin, it's better to add a new model. In this version, the Classic edition, we wanted to keep the old stuff, so That didn't stop me from adding a few new ones. Alright, that's the Forsaken. Let's take a look at Scourge. By the way, we missed Cavalry, I believe, on this side. We have the more Death Knights, the Bodyguard. There's no difference between the Death Knights here, I believe. All Death Knight only had this rider. There were no armor variations. They do have the new horse, so that's the main difference. Then we have the Kodo unit, the Kodo riders. With totem riders, the riders are static. As with the M2TV tool, riders of elephants become invisible when you use the creature fix, required for giants, dogs and others to not crash in battle. Windows 10 especially, but also on other Windows. Especially Windows 10 and 11, but also Windows 7. Yeah, they crash less likely on Windows 7, but still crash. So yeah, this is a new one. Then they had the skeleton horse archers, using the old skeletons, but the new horses. We have the new battle terrain, trees, etc. Check the Scourge. We have also the raiders, all units different field textures. They have the original orc skeleton skin with the purple shoulder pads. They have their own version of the Valkyr. Different looking shields and swords. You see it's more like the sword artist. Looks different style. I increased the numbers, by the way, they were only 10. I increased it to twice that, to 30, and made them cheaper because they were never recruited. This is the bright wing indicators. They are in the other official release, but are not available for recruitment in this version. They have a fixed siege engine, and they got some extras. This is a new unit, the Icebound Bone Rates. It's not released anywhere else at the moment. Really cool unit, and will be in the next official release of the main mod. The unique unit of the Scourge. And with this unit, we have all dismounted Death Knights. Unlike the new ones, they only had one armor variation. Crews, by the way, are 250 in a unit. 100 in the EDU is 250 in a unit. It's the maximum numbers per unit. I thought they needed to be stronger. Have the mounted Death Knights, but this is the unique demon Death Knights, the Burning Legion. They're used in custom battle as Artus Bodyguard, Death Knight Artus Bodyguard, Prince Artus Florderon, turned into Death Knight, the Scourge. So he has the same horse as the Forsaken, and the Burning Legion, but shares the skin with the Burning Legion, and it's different from the Forsaken. We see it's more purple and bluish, which fit this guy very well. Violet Legion have the same skin as the Scourge, because the horse fit with some of the riders. I believe that Munso said that he wants to give them a Warlock horse later. But for now we don't have that, so I added this placeholder. And yeah, we have all Death Knights riding these guys too. And we have the Crypt Fiends that will shoot stones now, unlike before. And we have the mounted horse archers, skeleton horse archers, and they have the new horse, Old Rider. And we have some extras just for the numbers. And that's essentially it. Balance of forces is evenly matched. We are not really gonna play, or are we? We could play it. We will just order everyone to attack. Right. Siege engine didn't need to be in the group because it will do better if we just have it fire at will. Yeah, when the Valkyrie were 10, they were defeated very easily. And they certainly weren't recruited by anyone in the campaign. Also the costs were 5,000. Far too much for 10 units, especially since the giant vehicle that are even better in stats were 20 in a unit and the cost 1500. So I changed the cost to 1500, similar to the rest of the male ones, and increased their numbers to 30. The other female vehicle are 40 in a unit, which is way more than the men for 20, but they are smaller. The Valkyrie are better than the normal females, so of course there should be fewer than the normal females. I thought 30 was a good number. Now they are recruited at least. They are available as enemies in Valkyrion and in Brunhilde, I believe. Brunhilde, so it's rebels in the Reign of Chaos campaign. In the Frozen Throne campaign you get them as the Scourge, as a garrison. And I also believe that they added them as mercenaries for the Undead religion. Then they don't need to have the mercenary attribute because all the factions of the Undead religion have the unit. They won't be Silver Surfer. The Undead religion, that's the Recall, and the Scourge and the Forsaken. They are mercenaries for them in Valkyrion's region and in Brunhilde region, the Frostbreaking region. Have a good animation too from Warhammer, beginning of the end times, called Warhammer, beginning of the end times. I believe from Altcat as well, could be wrong, could be just the normal called Warhammer or beginning of the end times too. Yeah, they're really cool animation. I believe the Sandalari Prophets of the Trolls mercenary unit, they also use it since before. These are the Dread Guard phalanxes, only named Dread Guards in the main release. They're forced to be a different unit here. We have Valkyries fighting the Icebound Bone Rats. They look really good in the game. They looked worse in the VIP. Like the VIP pictures posted of MS3D. Didn't think they looked this cool, but in the game they look really awesome. Especially the ones with the horn. All of them looked cool. That one looked really cool. Glowing blue eyes and horns. Looked like on the Wrath of the Lich King trailer. The new Forsaken Cavalry. They will have a different name probably if we update this to use all the modern units. Get rid of the old ones. The difference would be that it would have the old map in the campaign. badass. They are actually good skeletons. They're better ones. They're better units actually. They like recruiting in the campaign. I played a few AI campaigns, playtesting the stability of this model for releasing, and where I didn't play any battles, and we checked the units they recruited at the end in some of the videos, and this is one of the units that Scourge likes to recruit many of in their late game armies. It's available everywhere. You have a good enough settlement. Unlike the other skeletons, it's not actually basic or medium, but elite. Could have been unique to Northern, but would have been boring. Yeah, the classic edition is like a mix, but mostly with old stuff. But this version still has a lot of modern models, like Warcraft classic models or HD fan-made models. Because the original mod had mostly such models, and then there were some that were still with all Warcraft 3 models or fan-made. Those models being replaced in the later public versions, and here we decided to keep them as a backup by polishing up these versions. It's fully playable, so it's worth it. Like these skeletons, they were originally from Elder Scrolls Total War. They're Draugr, but they have edits like Warcraft looking helmets and such armors. They are not entirely taken from Elder Scrolls. They are originally from Elder Scrolls, then edited to look more like Warcraft skeletons, and they were replaced in I believe the June 22nd VIP release. It is not very stable, but yeah, they are supposed to be replaced and will be in the next public release that is very stable on the map. At least I played for over 800 turns without a crash on the map in the Caves campaign, but that doesn't mean it won't crash after battles, which I'm worried it will do anyway. Vindicators, an Elven unit with an Undead skin. Inspired by the Dark Fallen, or Blood Wolves in the service of, I believe, the Lich King. The Forsaken got some of their new units. They had very few units. They're actually unique to the faction, so they needed something. I believe the Death Knights of the Scourge would have fit better in style with other units, but they didn't fit because we didn't want to replace all Death Knights. These Death Knights are unique to the Legion and to Artus Bodyguard. They are all for classic models. They are unlike the fan-made ones you see here. They will still be in the next main release. We are not replacing these guys, the Legion. We're only replacing the ones, fan-made ones that looked a bit outdated. They're good for fan-made, but they are models a bit dated. Alright. looks much better with the new skeleton horse. Since the Forsaken sent in their heavy cavalry to take them out. Death Knights. The icebound bone wraiths here, fighting the old death guards. Skin of the Skull Crusade, Shields of Virtue. The Forsaken sent in their cavalry against the icebound bone wraiths. Alright. Yeah, the classic edition has new stuff, but not as much new stuff as the other version will have. But the next version, the classic edition number 2, or whatever I will name it, that will only have the old map and old scripts, but all the new models, it will have the same models as the other main release, but the old map instead of the big map. You can play the old map with all the new units. In this version you can't do that. This version is for the old units and with additions. Yeah, the terrain and everything, it looks great. Sylvanas is dead. Or at least the officer, the game captain, is dead. You can't select the horn anymore. The dark rangers didn't have any weapons in melee. Must be something that Munso forgot about back in the day. I believe they were at back in 2018 or so. Yeah, they don't have any sword or knife in melee. I don't think it was intended. But who knows? It's leading. We kill 88%. They kill 99%. They are leading with 11%. We are losing. We lost the battle. Yeah, that's the units of the Undead. We saw the other factions also have many new units, but many of them are just ported units, like the Highlanders. Here at least we had not just ported units like Icebound Bone Wraiths, but we had some mixed units like new horses, but old riders and such. So it was worth it to check them out, see the horses with the different riders, or in this case the old rider with the new horse. The reason they have this bug when they move to the side is because of the Warcraft Total War engine or project tool or M2 tool. It bugs out their animations and slows it down a bit. If you play without the tool, they would look perfectly fine, but then it crash if you face the wrong type of unit. Oh, they still have troops here, but they died. Okay. And the battle is over. So the captain, Lady Sylvanas Windrunner lost 410. Undead, no, she had 410, lost 1399, 11 left. And that's not Artist had 57, he had fewer. And lost 1026, killed 1031. Maybe he had more cavalry or so. And killed 191 troops. Let's check this. We had a kudos, I believe. Still didn't win. Only killed 42. The Sylvanas killed 93. Skeleton Horse Archers killed 14 only. Raiders killed 104, that was pretty good. 136. Death Knights. Okay, 182. Death Knight Bodyguard. 42 Kudu Riders. 64. Dark Fallen Death Blades. Red Guard Phalanx. 79. Red Guards 137. Death Guards 138. And Skeletons only 16, they are really bad. Meat Wagon only 24. Dark Fallen Marguis, the cavalry, new cavalry, they killed 110, and Valkyrie killed 62. They are actually pretty good, Valkyrie. So yeah, when they were 10, they were pretty much worthless. Now they were 13, killed 62. As 10, they hardly killed anyone. Because they are not mages anymore. I understand why F-Moons would make them few, as they are Valkyries and they are not that common, but in this case I prefer them being competent in battle. Okay, so you can see this new unit here. Really cool. Alright, so that's the Undead. I was gonna start a campaign. I think we'll end this video here. We've seen enough, and then I might start another video and play a campaign later, and play testing campaign. Of course, we have the old units, and it's a little bit boring to play the old humans and the old undead and such. And would have preferred if this version had the old map, but all the old, but all the new models maybe. But we could play a bit in this version and then maybe update it to use the latest models and then play it for real, because I don't have a problem with the map, but I do have a problem with the old models. But I still wanted a version with the old models to be polished up and released, but I don't really want to play it much. Okay, and the old map, I don't like how factions can't move from continent to continent and such, but what I do like about the old map is that it's very stable. I had like 1600 turns in the Reign of Chaos campaign without a crash, letting the AI play. I had 800 turns in the Tron campaign without a crash, and I could probably continue for 1600 turns there as well. But decided to end it after 800 turns and release. So the campaign is very stable. In the other version, the main release, I also had the Reign of Chaos campaign going for 800 plus turns without a crash. So the campaign is stable, but on ending turns and such. But unfortunately, there seems to be a problem with random crashes when winning battles. So you play a battle and nothing might happen, or you play a battle and you win and against the odds or something, and then all of a sudden it crashes when you're about to return to the map. And I don't believe that this version has that issue. I don't know if the latest version of the mod have it, but I know that the release I released on June 22nd, 2024 had such issues, and even issues on the map, crashes on the map at certain turns, and Campaign's version had at least, I believe, random crashes after battles when you won battles. And I believe that random crash might still be in the latest release we are about to release, but I'm pretty sure that we do not have the crash on the map, at least not in the Reign of Chaos. Alright, thanks for watching, and see you later, bye.